Well, New South Wales is battling an outbreak of its own, with 9 coronavirus cases now linked to a busy pub in Sydney's southwest. The rise in cases at the Crossroads Hotel in Casula is fuelling fears the state is on a dangerous path and could end up in lockdown again, just like Victoria. Anyone who visited that pub last week is being ordered to self-isolate. Meanwhile, travellers returning to the state will now have to pay up to $3,000 for their 14-day hotel quarantine. Joining me now is the Minister for Western Sydney, Stuart Ayres. Morning to you.
Morning, Ed.
OK, let's start with Casula. A staff member who worked at the pub is among those infected. Several patrons and also a Blue Mountains family have also tested positive. Is the outbreak in New South Wales getting out of control?
I don't think so, but the clear message here is to anyone who's been at that hotel between the 3rd and the 10th of July, go and get tested. There's a pop-up that's been set up in the hotel car park. You can go there, or you can visit Campbelltown, Fairfield or Liverpool hospitals. And this is so important that we get that contact tracing. We can clamp down so we can keep our economy strong here in New South Wales. So we need people participating in that testing regime.
So even if you went there last week and you don't have any symptoms, you're supposed to get a test?
Doesn't matter whether you've got no symptoms, self-isolate, but go and get tested in one of those locations.
What are the chances that New South Wales is heading for a second lockdown?
Look, I think we're in a pretty good place at the moment, but we are at the crossroads. I know it's a pun that everyone wants to use at the moment, but there's probably never been a more symbolically named hotel than where we sit right now.
Because you've got Casula and then you've got this family in the Blue Mountains. I mean, a lot of New South Wales are sitting there thinking, we're going to
this particular hotel is located at the juncture of the M7 and the M5. It's a big travellers hotel, which is why if anyone's been in that location, it's so important that they go and get tested immediately.
OK. Also on the weekend, we've had lots of people, going out. The cafes were full, the restaurants were full. A lot of the Vaucluse party. Look at these shots. I mean, we talked about outside the Sheaf last week in Sydney. Look at these people. Well, people are not doing what they're told.
This type of behaviour is completely irresponsible. It puts people's jobs at risk. It puts people's lives at risk. We've been saying day in, day out now for months that you've got to practice social distancing, you've got to practice personal hygiene. Those people doing the right thing have allowed jobs to get back and our economy to stay strong. If you don't do those things, then you put all of that at risk, and we know what happens. It's what's happening in Victoria.
Yeah, it really felt like the last hurrah in a lot of Sydney over the weekend. OK, let's talk about hotel quarantine. All travellers, including Australian citizens, will now have to pay a fee for their stay for a family of 5 grand. A few complaints. Do you think most people are supporting this? We've got the figures on the screen.
Yeah, it's $3,000 for the first adult, $1,000 for every adult after that, and $500 for children. Children under the age of 3 are free. People have had now almost 4 months to come home. The Prime Minister said nearly 4 months ago, if you're an Australian overseas, it's time to come home. We've been providing that quarantine at taxpayers' expense for nearly 4 months now. We think it's time for those people to make their own contribution. We'll still provide the security, we'll still provide the health support, but yes, we've sorted out the hotels for you. So quarantine is so important. In fact, it's our front line of defence against COVID-19, and we must maintain that hotel quarantine program in a sustainable way.
Yep, and the Army and the police are running them in New South Wales.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Minister.